Yeah, no, I like that, dude. Hey, competition over community, or
community over.
Well, sorry,
we have one. Let's go back and just.
No, mine is better. Mine is better. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Side Tangent. It's your boy Jared.
Hi.
We have a very special guest with us today. You may have noticed that we have a new theme song, the new video. It's a brand new. It's not some cheap old free song that we got from the internet. We have our composer, producer, music artist, good friend, Stephen Fogamomi. What is up, my guy? Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, guys. I'm excited to be here.
Dude, so real quick, like, I know we've known you for almost a year now. We're all coworkers, and so you've always been super into music. Like, where did this like passion for music come from, and like how has that like shaped you throughout life, and like tell us a little bit about your music journey.
Yeah, good question. I love that. So you guys are ready, because I know I was a little nervous to come on this show because I've only talked about music. But for those of you who don't know me, just like Jared mentioned, I also have a podcast, but it's deprecated right now, sadly. But I haven't used it in a while. But I only talk about music on podcasts, so this is my first non-music podcast. So I'm a little nervous, but I appreciate Parker and Jared just like inviting me. But to get to that first question, I would say music is my life. So I always tell people this, and I actually told someone this the other day at work. So I feel like I have to tone down my talk about music because I love it so much. Yeah,
you don't have to tone down here, dude. You can be yourself.
Yeah, for sure. One thing that I love about music is just finding like subgenres of music, like immersing myself into all the different subgenres, really finding niche genres, plus just like being a savant of like different things, all music. Because for me, it's like I love listening to tracks and dissecting every single word, every single instrument, thinking about it for like a week or a day afterwards. It's just like, yeah, I just love music. I should consume it, even to like every single detail. So like just like thinking about it, writing about it, making songs, and just really just vibing. That's one thing I really love.
Nice,
so,
dude. I
yeah,
love
that's what
that.
got me into music. So, yeah.
I'm gonna ask you this question. I used to ask people this question a lot when I first got out here to college and stuff. And so you can interpret this however you want. There's no right or wrong. Okay. I'm not looking for anything specific. But in your opinion, throughout history, who do you think the 4 most influential / best musical artists are?
Shoot, that is a hard one.
Yeah, I'm putting on the spot there.
What a bold one to start with.
There's answers I get a lot when I ask that question, but I don't think there's a right answer necessarily. Yeah, there might be some wrong ones, I guess.
No, honestly, the only wrong ones to me are maybe like the top like pop one things that everyone loves, because I love like, as you probably noticed, like really niche music. But so if I had to say my top 4, kind of like Mount Rushmore of my favorite artists, is that what you're asking pretty much?
Yeah.
So essentially, let's see, I have a bunch of different like cool like art things in my studio, my little like music studio in my house. There's about like 6 or 9 different like albums that I have on the wall. So I think I go to those 4.
Okay.
So some of them are gonna be obscure, some of them will be like pretty well known. But I think my wife always jokes like, "What's your favorite artist this month?" or "What's like the best song you listen to?" But if I had to boil it down to like top 4 for myself, it'll probably be Daft Punk. Do you guys know who that is?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So the Robots, I love them. Yeah, they're just like timeless to me.
From Tron, right?
Yeah, from Tron.
I know.
Yes, I know Daft Punk. Yeah, sure.
You just looked at it.
I didn't mean to embarrass you.
I only know because of Tron, but
honestly,
I know.
Yeah, some of these are semi-niche, and yeah, so it's okay. We don't know in there, but yeah, Daft Punk is like for sure up there for me. So that's like number 1. Yeah, I just love them, but I'll talk to them about them in depth if you want in a minute. But to go off the list, it'd be Daft Punk there. Probably Bruno Mars is up there for me.
Love Bruno Mars.
Yeah, Bruno Mars is amazing. Like, I know you have that Silk Sonic album, or just on the wall there, so crazy. Like, he's awesome. He's amazing. This is so hard. Top 3. Okay, so number 3 for me personally would probably Two Door Cinema Club. Do you guys know who that is?
That's new for me. I've never heard that. What kind
of
music is that?
Yeah, they do that one song. I have to clap. I have to put the mic down, but they do that one song that's popular on like TikTok. It's like, and then they also do like, what was it? Go. There's like a clap. Oh, it's that part.
Yes.
You always see a lot of people clap or just someone get hit in the face. And then the song starts. That's them.
Okay.
So that's one of their most famous songs, but I just think it's that song came out in 2010, which is crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's an old song. So it's just funny that that's popular now on like TikTok, so it's just cool. But yeah, number 3 for me, they're an Irish band again, but they're sick, indie rock stuff. But let's see. Number 4, so I've said like EDM, funk, indie rock, which I love. I think my last one has to be a hip hop or a rapper because I love those two like a lot. So probably that's a hard one. Okay, this is I feel so like dumb saying this, especially because this is on the record. But I think you'll know why I'm very hesitant to say this, but Kanye West. Let me.
I will. You know what's funny?
Let me be clear.
There's a lot of names. I was like, I wonder which one.
Before everyone cancels, I can see a lot of people just throwing their glasses like that meme, the guy. But like, before everyone cancels me, I promise, please do not judge me so hard because I would understand if you did because I said Kanye West on that. But vintage Kanye West. Let's be clear. Like the first 4 albums that he dropped. That's like that's my goat, if you will. So yeah. But those 4 genres, I think like. Probably capture my favorite genres and a lot of the widespread things that I like the most.
Yeah.
So
okay, I like it, dude. And I will say about Kanye West, it's tough because I get like how controversial it is. There's a lot of like artists or like famous people, and like it's tough because you're like I don't want to like. It's like I liked their music.
Yeah.
And so I think just because people make bad choices doesn't mean the music wasn't good music, you know.
Yeah.
But condemn the craziness and that's
man. And personally too, like I don't like the narrative of people just defending like, oh well, it's like the like hate the artist not the art, but at the same time it definitely makes sense that like the things he's been saying recently, crazy, wild, right?
Right.
So I'm not gonna say I will defend this stuff, but I will say his art from back in the day, pre craziness, you know what I'm saying? Maybe like mental like breakdowns. That's like again my hip hop go because the production was all him. Which a lot of people don't know. We can get in depth about that in a minute, but of why I love these. But for him, I guess I'll start off there. It's like he made the beats.
Right.
He wrote most of the raps. He recorded the music like we're kind of doing now, which is nuts. So he did everything. So like he is just kind of a genius there. Just like the Netflix documentary, I think that came like a couple years out. I think it was called like Genius or something.
Yeah.
And with those 3 episodes, I just thought it was amazing that they like really showed all that. Personal opinion to hopefully save grace because I think that's such a crazy thing out the gate for me to say is I honestly think that after his like mom died, that was the tipping point. I think. And that's why we see current Kanye West, crazy Kanye West, which is like really sad. Again, not defending his actions / comments, but I will say that like it's just
but there might be a reason.
Yeah. And I've heard some of you guys other episodes before. It's like mental health is like real, right? So like I personally think that's kind of something that he's just kind of figuring out. But maybe hasn't done successfully yet, but
he just unfortunately has a worldwide platform to figure it out in front of him.
Yeah, so it's a little rough for him. But again, going back to the golden eras, I love like his first 4 albums.
Yeah,
masterpieces to me.
That's a good one. That's good answers. A lot of unique ones. I get the ones like when I ask a question, when I say like most influential artists of all time, some people take it as in like, that's my favorite. Some people like try to. Like what they think the world is
like objectively,
objectively. I get a lot of Michael Jackson. A lot of people say Prince and Queen and the Beatles and stuff.
Yeah.
I remember one time. This is when I was single and on the dating apps, I would ask that question a lot. And I got this one girl that said 4 most obscure country singers. Like I don't listen to country that much.
Okay.
But I know the famous ones. But then like I was like, who are these? And she ghosted me after I asked her. I was like, okay, my bad.
That's so funny. Yeah.
My bad, you have bad taste in music. I'm going to change the subject like completely from music for a second. Because I have this, we were chatting about it briefly before you got here. Because I had this segment that I was doing for a little bit where it's like things I think about a lot, but I have a hard time explaining what it is. So this is explaining, so how, like a water filter, it filters out all the bad things, right? And eventually, it's not stupid, dude.
I don't know why it's laughing.
So, a water filter, so I'm going to say because you're the one that didn't understand it. It filters out all the bad stuff, right? And eventually they say you have to change the filter. But what is getting through if all the bad stuff is blocking it? Like, it's still filtering, is it not? Same thing with the outfit. Am I right?
This is the second time you've explained this to me, and I still don't understand.
So imagine, are you asking like what is being left after filtering?
Yeah, well, when the filter goes bad,
no, here's
I'm like, if
I want you to explain to me how do you think a water filter works?
It's just like I imagine like a bunch of mini strainers and stuff that just that catch all the things. It catches all the bad stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of how it works.
Yeah, and it's like it gets smaller and smaller and more refined, and it catches all the bad stuff.
Are we talking about like?
I'm talking like a Brita.
Okay.
And eventually you have to change the Brita filter, and I don't understand why. Because it should still the stuff is still there, and there's bad stuff blocking the other bad stuff. It still shouldn't go through the thing.
No, okay, so here, so...
This is what I'm excited about on the episode. I was less excited about me, but I was more excited about this kind of conversation.
I'll be like after you told me this to me, like the entire drive back home, I was like trying to understand what. So the average water filter.
I have a college degree, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm a smart person.
At
I'm
a more prestigious school than
for
me.
the listeners.
So
the 5 of them.
Yeah.
So the average water filter uses a carbon filter.
Okay.
So it's basically just like a chunk of carbon. You can like get it from any carbon-based thing, and you basically just like burn it. Basically, a chunk of charcoal. The water goes through it.
Okay.
And it's like a sponge. So it's just basically a chunk of carbon. It's like a sponge, but with millions of holes, and the water goes through it. But it's not so much that it's catching the stuff, but like the carbon, like let's say like there's like a bunch of chlorine in the water, because apparently that happens a lot. The chlorine will stick to the carbon through. It's not absorption. It's like, oh crap! I already forgot what it's called. It's like adsorption or something like that.
So you don't even know what you're talking about.
No, I don't know how to pronounce the word. It sticks to it. So a bunch of chlorine will stick to the carbon. But the issue is, eventually you lose all that surface area. So then the carbon can't catch as much chlorine. And even worse, if you have too much chlorine on this carbon, eventually it's more likely to start shaking it off and actually start adding more chlorine to the water.
Okay, chlorine in water is crazy though, because I listened to another podcast, but you probably know where I'm going with this. But
no, I don't actually.
It's like so bad in high doses, like within the water. But it's crazy because you said a minute ago that a lot of water does have chlorine. Yes.
Yeah, which is crazy.
The levels though is like crazy. We'll get into that in a second, but
it's insane. Yeah. That's even like something we have to talk about. But yeah.
Okay. See, that's why we have the segment. I learned something new today.
When you were first explaining it to me, it was like, so like by your logic, like when you like have a sponge and clean dishes and it's like really dirty, you're like, why would I change this? It's stupid.
I guess. See, this is what I was thinking.
Okay.
Is that I imagine the water filters as like a mini versions of like a strainer, and so I thought it was like multiple strainers. So like if I put
now
pasta,
that makes more
like you can't put too much pasta through the strainer unless you go over the top of it. But through the strainer, pasta's not going to automatically get through it. So I thought smaller sized, it was going to be, I didn't know this whole carbon thing.
So, but for water that we get from like reservoirs and stuff, I think they use basically a strainer like that, and those ones I don't think they filter out. But for like
a water filter,
like a one you'd have at home, they usually use a chemical thing like carbon or something. And that's basically like, since it's a chemical process, you have to change it for more chemical. Learning times with Parker.
Well, this was my segment. This is my okay. All right. Well, back to Steven over here. This is a segment I do.
Yeah.
But and it's been on my mind all day because I noticed at work that they changed the filter for the water bottle filler, and I was like, why do they need to do that? And so that's what sparked this whole conversation. Back to music. Who do you think the most overrated artist today is?
Oh my, these are great. I did not think you were going to ask these. Okay. Let's see. Overrated.
I just want to cut the crap, Let's just,
My first mind, my first mindset, or like my first thought goes to like the pop artists. So like the top like 100 or top 10 right now. So I do have a few. Yeah, I'm just going to spitball because I can't really pinpoint. So I'm going crazy with these controversial answers, but the first one is maybe Taylor Swift.
Well, I was so scared. I felt it so well.
Because he said Kanye West. Because he interrupted Taylor Swift.
I'm going wild right now with these answers. Yeah, I didn't even think I was
setting you up though.
No, you can do it. And here's the thing, I will say this: like, she has some bangers. Like, I'm gonna honestly say that for reals because obviously I listen to a lot of music. We'll get into that if we want in a minute too. A lot of music, just to be clear, everyone. So I feel like I know what I'm saying here. There's a lot of things I don't know, but music is one of. I'm just I feel like I'm a savant in. So her music, writing, her poetry, if we will, top tier. I'm not gonna say that's bad. But some of the songs, I'm just like, what is this? And the people, the fans of the Swifties, they just blow it up. Like, it's the best song ever. I'm like, yeah, this one's pretty good. But she's one of the ones that come to mind. But again, still amazing artist. Still amazing, poet.
Yeah. It's almost writer. It's like the fans are almost...
We don't support him, by the way. Swifties, don't come after our podcast.
So you know what's funny, though? Okay. And I will say this. I think it maybe is the overhype.
Yeah.
that
Oh, yeah.
aspect itself, because I
get
do
that.
like Taylor Swift again, but the overhypeness of what we're saying, that's the question. Yeah, I think they do overhype her.
Overrated doesn't mean they're not good.
Yes, yes, for sure.
But like,
so
at a
that's
certain, like when I've been told so many times, like you will love it, it's like I don't even want to listen
yes,
to her at this
and
moment.
it's like kind of like a lot of pressure too.
Yeah,
and someone
yeah.
who loves someone who loves music plus like finding a lot of niche artists, or even just finding and listening to most like obscure bands and so forth. Like that's some of the fun stuff of it. There's no pressure into it. There's because you don't know who they are, and if you bring it up to someone else, it's like, yeah, let me tell you about it because we can like both discover it together. That's like my aspect, like that I really love. So there's that with like the finding new music and new artists. So yeah, it takes away the pressure of other people too, as like a listener or music lover. Besides Taylor Swift, but again, she's still cool. Besides her though, I think the other one that comes to mind is Bad Bunny. Crazy answer, I think, for me too.
Whoa.
He is very good, but I will say that like it's just I think to me personally a lot of the songs sound very similar. But we can argue that a lot of the ones I just mentioned are also like that. But yeah. But I will say though that like I feel like it also is just a lot of like look at me, I'm like cool music. But that's a different story in itself because and yeah, I feel like I'm going crazy with these answers. But for me, I think a lot of the best music, in my opinion, is just the ones that you can like really just vibe to by yourself. Like it's not a matter of like let's go to the club, which is a lot of Bad Bunny music. It's not the matter of let's be like really cool and like awesome and handsome because he is very handsome. And I think within that genre of reggaeton, like it's a lot of just like which I kind of think that hip hop and rap are obviously like that too. But if we get down to like the nitty gritty, like the core and the root of like these kind of genres, it's like people who are just coming up in these like potentially maybe like not well-known countries or not well-known cultures, not well-known parts of the world and regions in different places. So it's like that's another one that comes to mind. Is like he's like kind of I don't know what the word is, like outgrown maybe just that root of what he's like doing on reggaeton, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But still really good music. I listened to the newest album. Not saying I hate it, but yeah. Parker's just laughing at me, but yeah, that's just my thoughts. But what do you guys think?
Well, it's funny. I asked the question. I don't even know if I have my own answer. Like, Taylor Swift is the one that comes to mind, but
Yeah.
I don't listen to Taylor Swift, and so like I can appreciate that other people like her.
Yeah.
I don't like. I've never turned on a Taylor Swift except for Love Story. I listened to that song on
Okay,
ironically.
yes, vintage Taylor Swift, and that's one of my other crazy ones. If I can segue into something else too,
Yeah.
and kind of shift gears here. So I think you asked everyone else that's on your podcast, but I'm ready for the answer now.
Okay.
What is a hot topic that you have that you've been like
Yeah,
scared
so,
to bring
I'll
up
ask
before?
you the question. It's not. It doesn't necessarily have to be a hot take.
Yeah.
But it's just like an opinion that you have, and you just never really had the audience to share it.
Yes.
So
okay.
like yeah. So however you want to interpret that. If it's a
Yeah.
hot take, by
For
all
sure.
means, there's no right answer.
This is something I've been thinking about a lot, everybody.
Okay.
I'm looking to the camera
He's been
eye
waiting,
because
he's been chomping at the
I've
bit for
been
this
waiting
one.
my whole life to answer this question. So I'll be less controversial now, I think, because it's more conservative. But this is a crazy and kind of out there idea on music. Personally, I think that everyone is chasing the feeling. I say everyone, I'm talking about the bands and artists that like are releasing music every day. I think everyone's chasing their first like album release, like the emotions, the coolness, the anticipation. What I mean by that is like, let's see, first one that comes to mind is one of the ones I already said. Kanye West, that first album, Graduation, or sorry,
Right.
College Dropout. Wow, I'm gonna like mixing them up. So yeah,
Careful there.
yeah, College Dropout, amazing album. And I think it was like after that, it was just like trying to like catch up to that amazing. Like, but obviously all the other albums post that, like Registration, Graduation, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, all that so forth, amazing albums. But that first one was really like the one that caught my attention back in the day. Another band I haven't shared yet is Young the Giant. Do you guys know who that is?
I know of him. I didn't
Yeah.
even know it was a band. I thought it was a person.
He's not a, yeah, and he's a dope singer, the main singer.
Okay.
But like they have an album that's just called Young the Giant, like self-titled. I think that's like their best album ever. Not to say the other ones are not good, but I think it's just like that was such an anticipated album, such an amazing, like well documented. I think like come up for a band at that time. So shout out to Young the Giant. Two Door Cinema Club, going back to that indie rock band from Ireland. Yeah, Ireland that I mentioned a minute ago. Their first album is, in my opinion, their best album too. Everything else after that has I think, been trying to follow suit and kind of live up to that album. So I don't know if you guys can think of some other artists or like bands that come to mind too.
Their first album was.
Yeah, it was like their best. And I think that everyone is just always trying to recreate the magic of that first album. Whether it be like capturing the fans again, whether it be just being that good again, if that makes sense. So it's like kind of like a scary...
I guess the first one
Yeah.
that comes to mind. This actually like piqued a different question. like follow up question to this is like Post Malone. Like Stoney, I think is like
Yes.
regarded like everyone loves Stoney.
Yes. Is that the one with White Iverson?
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yep.
the one right after was a really good album too. And I love Post Malone, so I think all of his albums were really good. But I think they weren't as to the level Stoney was each album.
Yep.
But let me ask you this. So I don't think this applies to every artist, but Post Malone was a good example of this, where like his first album is significantly different than his last album. I won't count the country one they just dropped, but like the one right before it. But Austin is the last one before, and you see how he is now, and he seems a lot more happy making the music. Like when you say that, like when people drop that first album, that's what the people would want. Like because I see a lot of videos of people like artists like they know how to make a hit song, or like a popular song, and so like do you feel like a lot of these first albums might be victim of that, and like the artist doesn't necessarily like. Or making the music that they want to make. But then I guess Kanye West college Dropout was like I feel like more him, and then like it got weirder as time went on.
And that's such a good point because like a lot of people don't like the last couple albums from Kanye West, which I'm also part of that group. There's some cool beats and like extensive that mix, but the majority of it is just kind of hot garbage to be honest. I'll admit that as a Kanye West fan. So it's like it's interesting because. For me personally, I'll talk on my like nobody artist, just like up and coming like perspective there. For me, it's like you're trying to make a name and a splash for yourself, if that makes sense. So you're really going to put every single emotion into this first project, assuming it's a studio album. So there's obviously EPs, there's obviously singles, which are kind of lesser, or I would say not less important, but just not as polished like things and projects they're going to put out. So I think just looking at the wall that you have here, Pink Sweats is another example there. Like there are a lot of
Sweats. Please watch this.
I love Pink Sweats. Yeah,
17 was our wedding song, and At My Worst was like our walk up song. Please watch this. Sorry, I'm trying to plug in.
Yeah, hopefully he watches this. Yeah, for reals. But let's see. What was that big hit that he had? Oh my gosh, it was just the electric guitar. It was really reverby, echoey, plus his voice. There was like nothing else on the track. I'm forgetting how. Shoot.
Road Through Fire, like recently?
No, it was like his first like really big hit.
Oh, sorry, Honesty.
Yeah, Honesty. Thank you. Yeah, Honesty. And there's that really dope remix with Jesse Reyes. Shout out Jesse Reyes. But
please watch this.
Yeah, like it's like crazy because you're really putting. And I watched the video on this. I watch a lot of interviews on like obscure songs or just regular songs that are popular too. So I think he said in like a story that I read online is that he really loved the song. His manager thought it was trash. His manager was like, "Don't release this," but I think they released it anyway. Or maybe like without the manager's permission, it blew up online, and then that's how obviously I think I found out about him. So it's like one of those things because he knew it. He knew it was good. He knew it was fire, but sometimes a lot of people don't. So with like that filter of like people, not carbon filter, but like the pop, the like pop culture filter, and like everyone knowing who you are. You kind of have to like make sure that like everything is like your heart's on your sleeve. You kind of have to like put it all out there or make it or break it, if that makes sense. So I think once you get to that point, and again going back to someone like me, like a nobody, it's like difficult to just be happy sometimes when you're writing the music because you have to do it. Right. So I cannot imagine for someone who has a lot of like money / like resources and the labels behind them, and that's a story for another day, like the labels being like pressuring you to drop another banger. Hey, you need to drop another fire album that was better than the last one. And when it was platinum rock,
even if it's not
big, and it's very sad because I think you're right on the point that your observation of like sometimes they look happier when it's like way down the line and they're doing the music they actually want to do. So very interesting. But,
and I will say to Post Malone's credit, like he's still selling out stadiums.
Yes, he's still dope though. He's still like, chill.
I think people. Like, I think it's just his loyal fans that stick to it, even though it's a lot. But, yeah, that's very interesting. I like that take a lot. I wrote a paper my freshman year in college. It was about, like, independent artists. It was specifically around Chance the Rapper. Okay, it was very fascinating.
That's so funny.
That diehard of a Chance the Rapper fan, but I'm very intrigued by how he was the first independent artist to win a Grammy, I believe.
Yes, I think so.
Hopefully you should fact check that because I don't know if that's 100% true.
It sounds about right though.
People talk about like Macklemore stuff, but Macklemore wasn't an independent artist. He had an independent label. That's what he was. But like it was very intriguing of like researching it and finding out like studios like they really screw a lot of these artists over.
Yeah, they do. It's so sad.
I saw it so bad. With Mike Posner. And like how he's saying like
Mike Posner, my boy. Sorry, I just got excited.
But like he was talking about when he dropped Cooler Than Me. It was like it went. However, platinum. I don't know how the rankings work, but then they were like, "You need to drop a song just as big," and so he dropped like "Baby Please Don't Go," which was a
Love that song.
It did great, but it still went platinum, but it wasn't as good, and so they kept trying to get him to, and because he couldn't make it as big as Cooler Than Me, they like dropped him
pretty much, and they shelved him. I think because you're right. Like they were like, yeah, we're just gonna put your songs on the back burner, and it's sad because to Jared's point, if they don't think you're gonna do well enough, or they think the song's like kind of like okay or mid, they will keep you, but in like label jail. They'll just be like, we'll release your song when we're ready. And you're like, whoa, it's ready to go now. Like, we'll release it in like 5 years, but they won't tell you.
So it's like almost worse than if they dropped you.
Yes, sometimes it is.
That's crazy.
And there's a lot of artists that get stuck in those like label like traps, and it's so sad because, and you know, I didn't think I was gonna get into this, but next topic of that really quickly to segue into something even worse than this.
It's called Side Tangent for a reason.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know, so I'm glad that we're spreading awareness like for reals about this, because the second piece that's really bad with like big major labels that people say they're scary or they're of the devil. This one scares the crap out of me even just thinking about it. Let's say Jared and Parker, you guys make a duo, like a band. You guys go like platinum on. You go platinum online, without a label. So maybe like a Jake. Am I saying it right? Jay, like the upside down, like VKE. He like does the like that TikTok piano song.
I have no idea.
Yeah, if I pull it, my bad.
No better.
But Jake is one of the TikTok like famous artists. But anyways, yeah, if you're like something like that happens to you and you don't have anything like no resources like Chance the Rapper back in the day. What was that first album called? 10, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah.
10 something. So if you're one of those people, so let's say you guys do that. Let's say I'm like the sleazy or even honestly like the bigger labels. I come to you guys, I'm like, hey, let's like sign you guys for like $500,000 like upfront right now. What's crazy is you don't get to keep that. You do, it's like yours, but they write it within the contracts to do something along the lines of you have to pay that $500,000 back plus like APR, just like a mortgage, just like a credit card.
So it's just a loan.
Yes, but they don't tell you that a lot of them. And here's the scary part. And again, this is not all labels, not just trying to blacklist everybody, but most of like the bigger ones out there and the sleazy ones, like kind of like messed up ones. From the worst stories I've heard online from bigger artists, even to like indie artists, they'll say, "Here's money up front," as in like in advance. I think is what they use for terminology. You go and spend on the music video. You spend it to like party, which is a lot of artists, especially when they don't have a lot of money before and they just kind of like blow through it, which is pretty normal. NBA players, artists, a lot of people do that, right?
That happens all the time.
Yes. And so imagine that happens to you too. Let's say you spend everything on the music video, the recording, the production, everything. You guys drop the album, the next album that you did with me under my label or whatever. Then it doesn't do that well. Let's say you only make about $250,000. You now owe me $250,000 more, plus a way crazy APR rate, essentially, just like a credit card. And guess what happens if you don't have enough to pay that when I ask for it? You are I shouldn't say technical, you are essentially like a music slave to me now, because you can't leave the like label and you have to like try to make that back up. That's why I think another bad example was that Tyga got a really bad deal. And what we just said essentially happened to him. There's a lot of, and he was under one label for like 10 plus years, I think, and he owed so much money. And then Parker.
Just because when you were bringing up like how they'll put you in like jail, basically, I was like, well, why don't you just leave? But then
you can't.
That's
the sad part,
because you could literally be like, probably I assume prosecuted or something if you don't. That's crazy.
And it's so sad because as you probably guess the legal stuff, they're all like legaled up. They got like 10 plus, 20 plus of the best like lawyers in LA, assuming it's one of the big ones. You are just an independent dude or group who have like maybe $100,000 to your name plus your house and whatever. So it's like scary in that sense. So that's why Chance and a lot of these bigger artists that like come up from nothing, it's cool to see them like actually thrive.
Stay independent.
So hopefully, and I think the one that comes to mind is like, who's gone like there's a handful because there's not that many sadly, but like a lot of people hate. I think this is another controversial answer for me. Holy crap! But Logic, if you guys know who that is, he's a rapper. Like whether he was good or not, that's the debate. And a lot of people hate him online. A lot of people love him. I love him. But we can argue that he's a very smart businessman because he owns his label now. He's independent technically. Yes, he gets like a fraction of what he used to get on his streams of the songs he still drops now after retiring, which is another story for another day. And he got clowned a lot for that. But if you still got it in you, even after you're done with the big labels, I think you still got it.
Gotcha.
So that's why he still releases stuff. He probably gets like 10 million like tops comparatively, obviously, to like his billion or millions of hundreds of tracks.
Dang, only 10 million.
Yeah,
That's
I think,
crazy.
and I still listen to.
I guess in the grand scheme of money,
but he's not like he's not a quote unquote like performance or artist slave to any big label right now. So, and he has a bunch of side businesses. He's had a New York bestseller, which I think was called Marketplace. or market. I can't remember, but yeah, and it was just like crazy because he owns that and he has all these different like assets that he like just does. So yeah, some like game for like those who don't understand labels and why people always say that they're scary and stuff. So it's pretty crazy.
That is because I have always wondered why in like all the music biopics they're always kind of depicted as the antagonist. Yes. But there's probably a reason for that. That makes sense now.
Even like 13-Year-Old Me when I was playing Guitar Hero 3 back in the day. Shout out Guitar Hero if you guys ever played that.
Oh yeah, of course.
There's I think in the career
reason why
mode.
I know most of the old classic songs.
Yeah, like the dad rock songs. Yeah. That's me too. So like the reason I think in that Guitar Hero 3, I think like at the end of the story mode or career mode, it's like you get signed and then like there's like this devil guy like that's on this paper. It's so funny because most of the time they kind of try to screw you over, but it's scary. But not to deter anyone from following their dreams because it can still happen. Chance the Rapper,
right?
There's a lot of other people that still do it and they're like big. So yeah,
because TikTok has like opened the doors more for people to like release their music without giving them a different avenue for it. Excuse me. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Well, and just also maybe read the small print if
it
might be too good to be true.
Here's the sad part about that point though. That's such a great point, Parker. Is some people they have to like do it right now. There's a sense of urgency. So like again, going back to that scenario, but back at the beginning of it, if I'm like, hey, you guys want to get signed with me? Have all the marketing resources that I have to like push you out to like the Latin America and like all the different countries and regions out there. You have like a tiny window, especially nowadays, and here's the detriment of TikTok, which a lot of people don't think, because yes, it will help with like a lot of indie artists like me, of like nobodies to get noticed and whatever, but you have probably like a few days to like a couple weeks. That might even be wrong by the time this episode comes out because it's always changing. Because the next TikTok person that's gonna be famous, there's always one right around the corner.
Right.
So that's the other scary thing. Yeah. So J. Cole, one of my favorite rappers, he's probably top 3 for me. He once said, like I think in an interview that he's like, if you're not ready, if you're trying to be an artist right now, and you don't have the legal guy behind you, you don't have the team behind you, the marketing people behind you, if you don't have any of that, then that comes to that scenario of like you guys want to be signed, you're probably gonna get screwed, or you're probably gonna just crash and burn. So you got to be ready for it. So it's kind of crazy.
So like no one's good and like that good to it's like we'll find someone else.
But I will say on the flip side of this whole like we're talking about a lot of scary stuff and scenarios here. There's a lot of good successful ones like Jake, like I mentioned again. Sorry I forgot the name, but if you know what I'm talking about, he's like doing super well. I think I just saw on my Discovery Weekly or whatever. He made a song with like one of the big like Korean like K-pop like bands, like boy bands.
Kidding.
So yeah, and Homeboy I think is just. I think he's from Texas. That's probably wrong, but like, just dude made a piano song that just got famous on TikTok. Made a couple songs with a bunch of other crazy people. He has like a Tori Kelly feature on one of his songs. Wow. Just like everyone is just wanting to make songs with him, and he's like super viral. So, shout out to Jake. It's pretty sick.
Shout out to Jake.
Yeah, man.
Please watch this, Jake. Please check out Side Tangent.
Yeah, I gotta pull up my list because I think that's a little bit too much music. But I brought a list, everybody. But let me ask you guys a question. I think this is one of my favorite ones. No. So flipping the script here, this is something I really wanted to talk about a lot, and I think this is very relevant with the Utah Mormon, the secret lives of Mormon wives or all that. Right. From like a Utah perspective, and I think we've all either like lived our whole life or most of the life, or even just come from external perspectives. But like, I feel like there's a lot of interesting like eyes on the Utah community / the Utah culture. But what is something that your viewers, because I bet a lot of them are like, oh, did Jared and Parker live in Utah? Is it just like that show? What's something that you guys kind of want to dispel from like people think that we're just like, or that we're all like from like the show or anything of like Utah culture?
It's all true. I'm kidding.
No, hopefully not.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's like, it's tough because there is, I'm not from here. I'm from, but it's not, I mean, not much better. I'm from Arizona, but it does feel like there is like that kind of bubble. But I think it's because, I think you can say that about anywhere that has like a strong, like there's like a prominent church that's like in the area. Like I'm sure like, the South has like people have preconceived notions about the South, but that's because there's like a heavy like church, and I think I think what that really is just culture. The culture of that area and stuff. Like I think everywhere has that. But I think people think that like, this is like my opinion on a lot of things in general, where I feel like there's variety anywhere you go for the most part, and like there's like like everything's in like a spectrum and a range of things, and so like the stereotypical people that you hear about, like that people assume about it, like there are people like that. we've all been in church, and there's like, it's like, oh yeah, this is you're like the reason why people think that we're weird. Like,
Yeah,
for you meet those people like that, but there's also people like us who are super cool and normal. No, kidding. Okay, but like super super chill.
To an extent, though.
yeah, to some
Yeah,
things.
I know what you. Yeah,
But like, I think it's just like, I think you can find your people anywhere you go. So like people who aren't like, they're not strongly affiliated with any religion necessarily. Like they can find people here. I think it's just like it's still normal. Like it's just like there's a certain culture in it, but you can find that anywhere you go.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that makes sense.
I was actually in college, maybe going to write a paper about this sometime, but
Nice.
I didn't have to, so I didn't. But like this is like it's actually very common because all throughout history there's been several groups and several religious groups who kind of get maybe persecuted or like kind of driven away, and they form their own community. Like that's literally how like Philadelphia got made. Several colonies and throughout history and stuff like that, where it's just kind of like a specific religious group comes together, and like and what naturally happens is that they like work together, usually are prosperous because they're united, and then inevitably because they find success they start kind of maybe associating wealth with spirituality, and it kind of creates this strange judgmental situation, which is, I mean, uncool but perfectly normal because this happens all throughout history whenever like a situation like this happens. So I think it was only inevitable that maybe there'd be. I haven't seen Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, but I assume they. I haven't seen Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, but I assume they talk about judgmental and stuff like that, and I think it's yeah. So
oh yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love it. It's so fun to watch, and like
it is fun TV for sure. Yeah, it's funny.
Like I obviously don't like. I obviously know it's not an accurate representation of the people that live here.
Yeah,
but it's a guilty pleasure. But I can't say I like it, and I have my opinions on people. We don't have to get into whose side I agree with or anything, but
yeah,
it's definitely not an accurate representation. I don't think I do think there's a lot of comments like that people think that that's what it's like, and I think like obviously it exists because there wouldn't be a show about it. Like there are people that fit that, and I think like if anyone that was like just had basic critical thinking skills could probably understand like that's not everyone in Utah. And like that's just not the reality of it. But some people are they're not able to separate that. I'm sure like if we watched like the Real Housewives of Atlanta or something like that, like we probably like there's no way we shouldn't think that that's like, how every single person like think that Atlanta is these people. I've never seen it. I actually don't know if that's
for low-key. I go to Atlanta just because like that's like the music mecca.
Oh yeah. I picked the right. Yeah.
But it's funny because a lot of people are like, don't go there. It's like dangerous. I'm like, bro. If it's got good music, I low-key want to still go.
Yeah,
even if it is like, semi-dangerous, but yeah, whatever.
I think everywhere has their dangerous places. Like you can, there's also, the majority of the world isn't dangerous. So
yeah, that's true.
Or at least, I'm gonna stop there. I'm not gonna try to go through my own mental gymnastics of like the statement I said out loud without thinking it through. So we're just gonna stop right there with that.
Funny enough, on that last piece of like the show that we're talking about, so I actually went to high school with one of them. Yeah, I will not say who because I feel like I've already been giving a lot of crazy answers today.
Off camera though.
Yeah, off camera.
Right. In the Patreon, we'll say.
It's one of the girls. I will say that, but yeah, that's
you two have to explain to me the context of why it's who it is too.
So I will just say this. So like, it's like really crazy to me because. Like I wasn't friends with her to be honest, but we did have like mutual circles, so I did see her a lot in the hallways and stuff. So it's just interesting because I think for me, sadly, the show does represent some aspects of the Utah culture very accurately, which are the parts that I do not like, to be clear. Like one being competitiveness, or two just being let's see what's toxic or like really just judgmental to Parker's point. So like. And I think it's really cool that you mentioned that a lot of people, like, especially they're ostracized, I think is the right word, to, like, leave and make their own little communities. But then it's interesting that we're, like, focusing on that for this specific community, again, which is, like, the Utah Mormons. Like, what are they doing? They're always on TikTok and stuff. So that's another part that I think is just very interesting, that it's, like, again, very competitive. It's very, like, toxic sometimes. But I will say I do love that it's showing like their kids, like their families, because that's something that I really just like I'm very passionate about because I got 3 kids, so it's like very important to us here.
3 kids.
Yeah. So yeah, there's that, and I think for me personally, another thing that I really love is that it's kind of like an undertone, but these girls are doing like things all the time. They're starting side businesses. They're like husbands. I think have their own business too. So it's like it's really just like really, I don't know what the word is, like indicative of how like cool and very prosperous like we are as like people in Utah County, if you will. So it's pretty cool. Like that's really how we are. So
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like another thing I'll say, I remember when the Book of Mormon play came out, which is super offensive, but has really catchy songs.
I haven't seen it, but I want to.
Oh man, dude, like the most
Yeah.
sacrilegious but catchy songs.
Yeah, and I heard it's actually really funny from a lot of like
it's
people
pretty funny.
that are members as well. So that's funny.
But like, so the church,
Yeah.
the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, when the play came out, they bought billboards all over New York, and it was basically like, you've seen the play, now read the book that it was based on. And I feel
Reverse
the
like
book was
marketing.
better.
That's
you know, they were literally like the book was
book
better,
was
and so like,
that's crazy.
because like things like Secret Life of Mormon Wives can be annoying, but also like,
Yeah,
hey, it's kind of an unknown state, so it's
Yeah.
kind of cool. Any news is good news, and if anyone has the ability to maybe understand that these criticisms are valid, but maybe there's more to it, then they'll learn about it. So
yeah.
anything that I guess gives us attention.
I do think
bad press is good press.
eyes have been on the state of Utah in general.
Yes,
A lot.
I also feel that too.
I think that show has a big part of it. I think
Yeah,
like the hockey team coming here is a big part of it.
Yeah,
and
yep.
like I just think like, and then you're very passionate about music. I know stupid amount about college football because I
nice. Okay, that's
well
cool.
not a stupid amount but unnecessary amount I guess. But like the college football teams here in Utah have been like really picking things up. College basketball teams have been doing it too. It's like and then the Olympics are coming here, so I think like
Which I'm stoked about. So excited
I think
for that.
the eyes are, there more and more people are starting to look at Utah. I don't know if it's necessarily a good or a bad thing, but it's a thing. I think it's just perks of being famous, I guess.
The crazy thing is too is like I feel like it was the cherry on top of the show because like to your point it's like or we have a lot of cool musicians like shout out to the ones who are maybe not as famous now but they like kind of pioneered the way we'll say so crazy to say pioneer but like David Archuleta, shout out to the boy David for like really bringing remember when he came to high school back at that last episode or sorry the last like section of his season where they bring him to the hometown. Everyone says like, yeah, and everyone like cheers them because they made it to the final round or whatever. That was, I think, one of the first like things as well. Again, pioneering like just the eyes on Utah. Second, I think if someone else that comes to mind is the obvious one is James the Mormon. So,
you're so funny. We have the funniest story.
Okay,
about James.
I listened to the podcast. And I think I heard this story. So I've met James. I will say,
I'm sure he's a great artist.
yeah,
but it's sort of me my own house.
Yeah, I was about to say, James, bro, I'll tell you, I'll do you one better. Let me tell you my story. I met him. He's a super chill guy, but he probably thinks I'm an idiot, but it's okay. But there was this one time I went to In-N-Out with a girl I was dating back in like 2016, something like summer of 2016. Fire year. Oh, that might be something else I want to talk about next. But summer of 16 was like another, like, it was a movie. It was a reunion mission? Okay.
Yeah, well, that's what I left, so I got a little bit.
I'll give you the whole
keep
picture
going.
after this in a minute.
Gotcha.
Just remind me because I'll probably go on another side tangent. But like James, he was standing in front of me In-N-Out in Orem, Utah. If anyone knows where that is, it's in between UVU and BYU. But essentially, I was in line. Homeboy was in front of me, and I was with my girlfriend at the time, and I was with her friends, and I was like, I think that's James the Mormon, and they were like, I think it is too, and I was, I tapped him on the shoulder, and I was like, yo. I was like, bro, you look like James the Mormon. And he's like, he looks at me, he looks me up and down, kind of just like, what the? He's like, I am James the Mormon. And I felt so stupid. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, oh yeah, bro, like that's so cool. And I just tried to play it off, but like he probably thinks I'm an idiot. But he's still chill. But it was funny.
But he kept those insults to himself instead of verbally telling you like you did with me.
We talked about it in the podcast. I didn't even remember talking.
I think I did hear it, or maybe you guys told me this. But was it when he came to your apartment or something?
Yeah,
like that?
He was like chilling.
And I didn't.
Yeah, tell the story.
Well, that's probably why he respected you, is because you had a girlfriend with me, because I didn't have a girlfriend.
Yes, I remember
and he's
you told
like,
me
that's crazy that you've like not been in a relationship. I was like, I'm sorry, I'm shy. Why are you here?
Parker's married now too, so
so
you showed him.
Parker's got game though. Yeah, sticking his tongue out.
I'm sure he's a great artist, though. I don't but I can separate the art from the artist for me personally.
James the Mormon was your Kanye West.
Yeah, that's. But yeah, what was I saying on that too? It's like, yeah, like eyes were on Utah there. So hot take here, second hot take of mine. Probably a lot of people are gonna laugh at this, which I don't care because it will happen. Utah is gonna be the next entertainment hub, just like Los Angeles, which is for movies.
Interesting.
Dubai for like really cool stuff in tourism. Like just all these other places we can think of. New York for whatever, the arts. I personally think Utah in the next like 10 years. It should have been the last few years, but there's a lot of things we got going on and figuring out ourselves. Like the hockey team and a bunch of other funny stuff. But yeah, I personally think in the next like 10 years, we'll probably see the rise of what am I saying here? The music mecca. One of the next music meccas like Nashville and so forth.
Why do you think that is?
Here in Utah.
Just because of the popular, or is there a certain reason?
So I think this is a really good start to the equation because the parts of the equation I'm saying are like the first value is the talent. We literally, I don't know, I bet you guys know like 15 people are in bands. Like I bet you can like think of at least 5 like off the top of your head. Like I know a dude in a band. Yeah. I know a dude that makes music. I know a dude that's a like mixing engineer or whatever. So there's like the talents here. I think what's like kind of hindering us though is maybe just like the stigma. But shout out to the show again that we're like kind of talking about and I'm low-key bashing, but it's also helping what I'm saying right now. It's gonna bring the eyes and bring the attention. So who's the owner of like the jazz and
Ryan Smith.
Yeah, so Ryan Smith, he also I think doesn't he co-own
I'm trying to get someone to look at this.
Doesn't he co-own the jazz with like Dwayne Wade or something like that?
Yeah, he's
so like
partial owner for sure.
Yeah, so like there's people who have just such big like influences online, influences in their spaces and their spheres. So it's only a matter of time that when enough of these like kind of influencers, if you will like bring their audience to Utah. So to get more, and sorry, I'm getting like low-key allergies right now because I'm allergic to cats, but I'm still fighting through it. But
you're getting emotional. Sorry about that.
It sounds like I'm getting emotional, but I'm getting no, you're good.
It's because
so,
Utah's so beautiful. It's
I just start crying. I just love everything. So yeah, like it's gonna happen. The talent, the entrepreneurship. I think we're like the number one in the state for like most businesses like started in like a year or something like that.
If not, we're up there.
And I doubt
there is a huge entrepreneur spirit here.
Yeah, I doubt we're like last on that list because I swear we're in like the top 3 or whatever.
We're consistently up there. If I could, another thing I think that kind of to maybe support your thing of maybe like why a lot of people would be coming to Utah and support this entertainment thing is that the only state that has more like national land than us is Nevada.
Oh dang!
We have like an insane amount of national parks compared to the normal state. And also, for all of our non-U.S. listeners, I've heard from multiple non-U.S. residents that if you're going to visit one national park in all of America, that's kind of like unique to America. Zion's National Park is the one. So,
gotcha.
Beautiful state with...
Which is a crazy thing to say because, you know, America does have one of the 7 wonders of the world.
Yeah.
Being the Grand Canyon. Shout out Arizona. Literally before you got here, with an episode that we filmed was I was talking about how I have 0 state pride, and I just totally contradicted that entire thing.
Okay, nice. But, yeah.
I like that's interesting. That's an interesting take. So, marking for 10 years from now.
10 years from now, maybe even less. I will say that, like maybe even less, because it's like it's happening with the Hulu show, with like all these cool artists that are coming out slowly from like there's so many like underground / ghostwriters of like other big songs that are from Utah, which is like crazy. Like the Killers have ties to here. Imagine Dragons, which I have my opinions on.
Yeah.
But
the Killers are cool.
I met Imagine Dragons in real life. Dan Reynolds, you are the freaking homie, bro. His bandmates, long story short, were like, we're not Imagine Dragons. And I was like, okay. And I was like really excited to meet them. And this is the streets of Provo. And like Dan's like stops him and he like splits like the Red Sea of all the other bandmates. He's like, yeah, we actually are. And I'm like, oh man, you guys are the best at the time. Yeah, he's such a homie. So yeah, shout out to Dan.
Is that the most famous person you've met?
I think so, because I haven't met that many, which is surprising because I feel like I always go to a bunch of concerts and shit like that. So like, yeah, probably the most famous person I met.
Dang.
But he was so nice. He was cool.
That's cool. That's an interesting... I like that. And I want to,
Yeah.
I hope you're right. That'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
Here's a cool thing, too, as well, because I feel like there's enough podcasts coming out of YouTube. I can think of, like, 3 off the top of my head, the people that do theirs, like the Weekly Trash, this podcast, obviously. And a bunch of other people. Side Tangent.
We're up there. We're climbing up.
Yeah, there's so many, like, cool podcasts coming out of Utah, and, like, it's just funny. But there's a lot of things to talk about with us, so, yeah.
Also, most Dancing with the Stars dancers.
Hey,
no way.
That's a good point. Good point.
A good point. So yeah.
We're huge dance community. Hey, you know what? I'm jumping on the train.
You know what, Dancing with the Stars?
I wasn't gonna make that big of a claim, but you know what? Now I'm like,
you know what?
Yeah, you're right.
Forget Whitney. Let's get Jared. Let's get Jared Parker on there.
Yeah.
Come on.
Hey. Parker would love to go on Dance with the Stars. I'm good.
Yeah, bro. But that's like one of my hot takes. But last thing, sorry, checking my list because there's so many things to add. But I will say this. Another thing that I think that we haven't done a good job of, the community in Utah in general, is, and here's the thing, that sounds like kind of generic and kind of a blanket statement, but I just see this time and time again. We got to put in all aspects, whether it be music, whether it be like the arts, the sports, and all that jazz, and whatever, pun unintended, but it's like community over competition. I think that's our biggest. And
dude.
And you know what's funny? Because like, and you guys are obviously like the cool, and you said this a minute ago, you were joking, but I've been telling my wife this a lot, because growing up in Utah, here's another side tangent for you.
Hey.
There's a lot of interesting like cultures that you like run into within the Utah culture. You got your like extremely like Mormon, like churchy people, which it's okay to be that, but sometimes it deters everyone else who's like kind of semi-normal to talk to you or hang out with you. Second, and there's like 5 different like variants of like Mormons. It's so funny, but second biggest one that comes to mind is like the super rich, like handsome and pretty Mormons, which is obviously the show and highlights them mostly.
Right.
Cool people sometimes, I will say, but again, like it's kind of toxic because from the show, and Parker, you need to watch it, but it's like very prevalent among those kind of like circles and stuff. Yeah, firsthand, I can say and attest that that is real, because growing up in like Orem, Utah, which is next to Provo, which is next to BYU, there's a lot of really rich like families, which is cool, and obviously nothing to bash against them and the way they like came up and like their hard work, but it does foster sometimes an environment of like, I'm cooler than you, I have more money than you, my car's nicer than yours, I'm not going to talk to you because of that stuff.
I've seen that,
so, and maybe it's just like a smaller fish lens that I'm looking through, because I was on the opposite end of that. So I had a lot of friends, and like, I'm not going to say I was like dirt poor, but we were not like that, me and my friend group.
Fair.
But I felt like we were just like the chill kids, if that makes sense too.
Right.
So we had a lot of friends and a lot of like cool things that we did all the time too. We weren't like depressed or anything, or like bullied, to be honest. No one ever bullied us, luckily there. But again, like, I think one thing that really like hinders the Utah scene is like from anything is community over competition. So there's a lot of other cool people on the flip side of that coin that are really good at it. Like you guys, obviously. Yeah, I met Jared and Parker at work, which is funny because I feel like a lot of people don't make like a lot of friends at work, but maybe it is the thing. But I wouldn't think that could say that I met these guys only like a few months ago. We started playing Yu-Gi-Oh together. So shout out to Yu-Gi-Oh! Anybody that plays Yu-Gi-Oh!
We might do a Yu-Gi-Oh!
Only the real ones. Oh, we should. That'd be sick. Yeah, only the real ones know what Yu-Gi-Oh! Is. But anyways, so like there's like that, and we've only been hanging out for what I think like a couple months now. But I would say like we're like really good friends now. But like, and Jared's like probably like, nah, we're not friends. But you're like, all right, that's enough. So it's like, yeah, and again, just I'm joking there, but yeah, I'm obviously joking, but there's still a lot of cool people that are like super chill. But again, it's hindering us. It's like we're better than everyone. We're better than the rest of the state. We're better than the rest of the country, because sometimes it maybe can foster the environment of what Parker, he said to his point. And maybe this is another side tangent that I won't go down the rabbit hole of. Maybe we're kind of like that for a reason, because we kind of got ostracized back in the day as a community, if you know what I'm saying. We'll go into depth about that. So maybe there's a reason that we're kind of fostering that environment, but sadly it affects our lives and each other's here in Utah County. So Salt County, that's a different story. Elder TikTok, I'll let you explain that one. If you guys know who that is. Shout out Elder TikTok. Hopefully he's hears this. So that's just me, but yeah.
Okay.
No, I think that, because essentially like growing up in Utah, I've just heard so many almost crazy stories, such as like random levels of competition, or like I don't know, or like you'll hear stories that like BYU or stuff, or someone like getting to a textbook you need to write a paper on first and then hiding it so no one else can use it, so they'll get a better grade and just stuff like that. There's just like this weird almost association of success with like standing in church and stuff like that. So that's, I totally like, there needs to a focus on community, and like historically this happens with a lot of kind of random religion associated communities, but again, Utah's history have at certain points been occupied by the U.S. military might have also kind of made that
stirred
more
the pot.
Yeah, exactly. But regardless, that also means that that doesn't mean that we can't examine issues and maybe improve upon them.
Yep.
And everyone can just chill, and we can all play Yu-Gi-Oh together. And the real barrier breaker.
The real.
You guys play Yu-Gi-Oh? Hit us up.
Yeah, we love Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
But that was one thing I really want to talk about. So thanks for letting me.
Yeah, no, I like that, dude. Hey, competition over community,
over
community over.
Well, we have one.
Let's go back. No. Mine's is better. Okay. Community over competition. That's a bar. That's a bar. I love that.
Yeah, I've been saying that a lot. And shout out to my coworkers, our coworkers out of work too. Like, I tell everybody I'm very passionate about
Say
that.
their name and phone number.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, even at work, I'm like, this is something we need to think about so that we can better the company as a whole, plus us individually. Even at like church functions or like with my friends, I always just kind of keep that mindset because it's like, we're kind of the same boat. Even if we're not the same religion or the same, like, whatever you want to call it, or community or culture, it's like, we probably shouldn't like ostracize anyone because that's not going to get us anywhere. Like whatever the goal is or whatever the conversation is. So, yeah.
Yeah, they always say, like the common phrase of like, comparison is the thief of joy.
Yes.
I feel like people who say that are probably not better than anyone. No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry.
Because they don't know.
No. I it's a cliche saying, but I 100% agree.
They don't know ball.
Yeah, it's like, sounds like you guys just aren't better than anyone.
Yeah, scratch everything we said.
Yeah,
competition over community.
Yeah, competition over community. Okay.
But sorry, one other thing that you said to Jared a minute ago that I want to go down that rabbit hole or side tangent of is sports. So one thing that I have here is like, one of my biggest like pet peeves, totally different. We're flipping the thing now, we're flipping the script, or whatever you want to call it. Is so I like sports. I like basketball because Jared and I play every Saturday, and probably invited to obviously. But for me, this is something that I'm very passionate about.
Basketball?
I'm very passionate about this. Are y'all ready for this? This
Yeah.
is a funny one that I think a lot of, especially dudes, would like hate to hear me say it. And I actually still say it at work all the time because this happens the most there. When people start going in depth about sports, that is like one of my least favorite things. Of like, just not to say that it's bad to talk about sports, but when.
I never talk about sports.
No, Jared, you do a good job because you've never talked to me about it. But when you're at the lunch table at work, at school, or whatever it is, church, whatever that is, then someone's like, yo, like the this guy, he like scored, and yeah, he's way better than this because the coach, It's cool, and I do love ball. Like, basketball is my like life besides music. But at the same time, it's like, I'd rather play than like talk about it. That's my biggest thing. So yeah, it's one of my other hot topics. But
as someone who
does
does nothing with sports, I mocked you earlier. You thankfully only bring up sports.
Yeah,
if I
you
ask
do a good job.
question.
You're one of the good ones, Jared. Because I didn't even know you like college football. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know you like college football. So you do a good job.
The amount of social interactions,
Okay.
the amount of social interactions I've been into where I just had to be like, so what do you guys think about this year's stats?
Yeah.
And just like let them start talking because I can't contribute. So
Yeah.
Or like
Same.
he would go to like his in-laws like Super Bowl parties and they'd be like, I'm like, I don't know. Like, he doesn't.
I know.
That's my biggest fear too. And it's funny because I like football, but again, it's like the going overboard with the too much information that you don't care about. It's like, I don't really want to hear like all this.
To tie this all together, this is a pet peeve of mine too.
Yeah.
Is like I do like sports a lot, but I don't dive too deeply into. Some of the people get way too deep. So the reason why I like college football, I used to work for BYU's football team in recruiting.
Nice.
And so I'm just really into like I like college football more than I like the NFL. But like just how deep people get into it. I had this kid like go on and on to me about BYU's recruiting, and I told him already that I worked there, and so like everything he was telling me, I'm like, I know. I'm like, I know. I'm like, I literally,
like,
I work there, and so I'm like trying to like, but I don't know. It's just, but to like tie everything together, what we're talking about, like comparison and like, I think it's funny when people pretend like they know and they try to join in on these conversations.
Yeah.
Like for me, I'm like,
and I feel like it's very
if
easy.
I don't know, I will not say it out loud, or if I do say it out loud, I'm like, I'm gonna kick myself about it later.
You tell me because you're the sports savant of all three of us. I think it's easy to tell when people are trying to like just pull stuff out of their butt. When they come to conversation about sports, like, oh yeah, Trey Young, he like scored 3, and I'm like, bro, like chill, like it's just super interesting.
It's same thing with like because we talk about anime a lot. It's
Yeah.
I'm not that gatekeeping about anime, but it is funny to me when you can tell someone just got into it.
So I listened to the episode that you guys talked to Moses about, where you were like, some guys or the missionaries or something, they try to start a conversation.
Yes, they wouldn't leave our house.
Do you know what Dragon Ball is? And you're like, yeah, obviously. And then you're like, do you guys like Naruto or the other ones that you like, the big ones like Jujutsu Kaisen and whatever? They're like, no, I don't really know. It was One Piece, the most common ones everyone knows.
Okay. So you
like,
just relying.
You just wanted, just to start a dumb conversation to look like
the
you know.
missionaries are different. I get I get their board, but like I had a guy
and they're practicing their conversation skills.
There's like a thing that like if you're really into anime, have you seen Full Metal Alchemist?
So I know about it, but
so it's okay if you haven't seen it. So quick background of the show, there's the Full Metal Alchemist and there's a show called Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood
based on the manga, right?
Yeah, it's the
and
one
then the
that
other
actually
one's
follows
like
the
just what they decided to
so
go.
You even know that.
Yeah, and I don't even watch anime.
That's
That's a quick one. I know that.
So the reason I bring that up is that it's like someone that me and my wife know. Like we were meeting with some friends were.
Gonna call them out.
It's crazy. It's the second episode you're talking.
Well, no, because I don't talk to this guy. So
yeah.
Anyway, so we're talking. I was talking with like it's like her one of her friends' husbands and his friends. I was talking to all of them, and then this kid comes by and he starts bringing. And he tells me that fact, and where I'm like, he's like, "Did you guys know that? Did you know that?" I'm like,
my gosh, that's so.
Yes, I know that. And I don't try to be that gatekeepy about stuff, but I think the same thing people do that with sports, where they say something, and I'm like, I know you just regurgitated that from somewhere else that you just heard, and it's just like the whole like thing of like comparing yourself and trying to like fit in, and I'm like, it's okay if you don't know.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay if you don't.
If anything, people will probably prefer it if you don't know, because then they can tell you.
Yeah.
Yes.
With all the comparison, like people like trying to flex their money. I'm like, hey, it's okay if you don't have the money, or if it's okay if it's okay if someone doesn't like you. I think that's what people need to like. It's like this is my like my saying for life. I say this no matter like everywhere I go, but I use this a lot when I was dating. And now that I'm married, I don't really need to say it during dating, obviously. But it's like you could be
during dating.
Yeah.
You go on.
I misspoke. Okay.
Emily, don't worry.
or even then you go.
I didn't even think about that.
You go on a weekly date with Emily, and you're just like hyping yourself up, like
just don't mess stuff. Yeah, you still gotta date your wife. You know?
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
But you could be the sweetest peach, but some people just don't like peaches. That's like something I say a lot to myself. So like sometimes not every social interaction is good, or sometimes I'm like, maybe this conversation isn't a Jared conversation, or like I need to like take a step back and that's okay. It's okay if this isn't for you, or if it's not. Like you're not gonna win everyone over, so just be happy with where you're at. Stuff like that.
That's nice. Yeah, to Parker's point too, for all the introverts out there. Yeah, personally, I would just be like, if you're stuck in that sports or music, whatever the freak it is, like topic with that one person that just won't shut up, and you're like, yeah, like I actually don't know about that. That's what I've like noticed too. That it's like good, but there's a bad part to it, because like they could go on, and you're like, no, please, I just said that to be nice. Shut up. Like we're done with the conversation, which is so funny.
But it's a roll of the dice. But hey,
yeah.
But sometimes it works.
Yeah, because at work, like I will say last part on this, but like at lunch, a lot of the CSMs they talk about sports sometimes, and it's normally the dudes obviously, but I'm like, I don't want to be in this conversation, so I try to look around to see if I can join another conversation, because they just go way too in depth. But it's funny.
If you ever want to come join our table, we're talking about everything but sports.
Yeah.
If you're something I do also, if you're in a conversation like that, you can also ask such like a question that reveals how little you understand. That they had to like revert back to like explain it to children, like. Like, what's a quarterback? And then it's great. And then, which is a legitimate question I've had to ask. I still, but
that's okay, and that's all right. Yeah, but this is funny too, because like to save grace for those who like don't like music. Yeah, probably safe to, if you ever see me in real life, don't ask me about music, because I will be that person. So yeah, I can talk a lot. As
everyone has a subject like that. No shame in that.
Yeah,
nothing wrong with passion.
Yeah. Dude, I love that. I loved like a lot of things you said today. I learned a lot about music. I like, it's funny, you said that you talk a lot about music, but I think it's so cool when someone has like a passion like that. Yep. And so I really appreciate you coming on the show today, dude, and like sharing that with us. Thank you so much for making our new song. Bro. Check out Savant Fogamomi. Can you tell the people, like, is there a way they can find your music anywhere, or?
Thanks for the plug. So essentially, Steven Fogamomi, kind of a long name, but we'll have it in the, I'm assuming the bio or the summary of the episode. Yeah, in the link. So there's that. I mostly just make music as an artist, so yeah, it's pretty fun. If you like, kind of, what's the word? Sorry, my like allergies are killing me.
It's fine.
No, but let's see. If you like soul, like indie soul, or like pop soul, or like indie R&B, that's what I mostly make. But yeah, go check it out if you want.
Yeah. Dude, thanks so much for joining us, dude. Really appreciate it.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah, we have to have you back on sometime.
I'm excited, for a Yu-Gi-Oh episode or something.
Yeah, we'll have you on for the Yu-Gi-Oh episode.
Yeah, I got a lot of things.
Yeah.
I can talk about a lot.
Yes.
Okay.
Love you guys. Thanks for joining. Any last words, dude?
Nah.
Okay.
Bye.
Catch you guys next time on Side Tangent.
Love you. Bye.